Welcome to another live stream. I'm not sure what's going on. I just found out that my video was censored. It was called Mohammed's unaliving of himself attempt. I don't know. I've never had that happen before. I don't think I did. I don't think I've ever had that happen before. But I guess they censored my video. And really? Hello. I think they a lot because of the title of the video that they censored the video. And so I don't know. I heard somebody. Okay, really? Okay. Um, well, so hold on the cliff. Okay. So okay. Has he? Can't have forgotten words. Yeah, I think somebody did. I think somebody did report me, and I think somebody said that my video had been censored. And so if you guys had any reports, maybe use unalive. Crazy. Well, if any of you got a report, can you send it to me in the private chat? I I've never seen this before. I mean, on Facebook I had some problems. On Facebook they kind of made some issues for me, but I've never had problems on YouTube. And so um, okay. Well, anyway, we'll just go ahead and go do the topic that I was going to do before I was censored. Or that was weird. I've never had that happen. I'm watching and I'm thinking, okay, my viewers, there's three, then there's four, and then there's five, and I'm talking. And then all of a sudden I look and it's down to zero. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Oh, do you have that? Um, Tiger, if you do have that, could you send it to me or give me a screenshot of it in the private chat, just so I know, so I understand what's going on? Just because I didn't get nothing. So I mean, I didn't get any. I didn't get any message. So I don't know. What happened there. Let me see if I got something in my email. Okay. No, I didn't get nothing. So yeah, if you did get something oh, that's okay. That's cool. I, I've seen stuff like that. It said community guideline infringement. Okay, whatever, whatever. Okay, trippy. But anyway, the topic was uh, about unaliving. Those who unalive themselves, and I know it's a serious issue, and I'm not making light of it at all. And I know it's very real, and I've had friends that have done that. And so um, okay, I won't use that word anymore then. And but in the Bible, there are three times where it happened, at least three times. Some people say there's more, but Saul, Samson, and Judas, and always that was preceded by some kind of demonic encounter. There was an encounter with some kind of devil, and the Bible says that the devil comes to unalive, to steal, and destroy. We got to change the. Okay. And so anyway, so that's um, so the Bible shows that there's a demonic element to that, and we saw it also with the 2,000 pigs when Jesus cast the demons into the pigs and they went and drowned themselves in the sea. So yeah, so it is definitely a topic in the Bible as well. But with Islam, it's a topic with Mohammed. And one thing we know about Muhammad is that he did have many demonic encounters. Um, he had, when he was a baby, had these two alleged angels that came and opened his chest, or when he was a boy, took this black thing out of his heart. Then, when he was older, he had the thing that in the cave of Hira, and then he also had the encounter with the Zut, those that jumped on him, and he also used to go. There was also the night of the jinn. There were many encounters with demons, and when that thing would come on him, that spirit, he would it would be like a scene out of The Exorcist. Yeah, I think he did have it all his life. Yeah, I think so too. So anyway, let's just look at a little bit about this. And all right, let's go back here. Okay, this is when he was in the cave of Hira. The angel came and told him 3 times to read, and he pressed him so hard he thought he was going to kill him. You know, again, he pressed me a second time until I could not bear it anymore. I mean, this thing didn't just come and squeeze him a little. This thing was almost going to kill him. I mean, and there's actually one hadith where he says he was afraid he was going to kill him. He pressed me and said, read. My question is, doesn't the angel know that he doesn't know how to read? And, you know, couldn't Allah give him the ability to read? Couldn't Allah give him the ability to read? And another thing, the word in Arabic is ikra, ikra, which means to read. I know that sometimes they like to say recite, but the word recite, ta'weed, is different from the word read. Read is ikra. And that's what that thing told him. It told him 3 times, ikra, read. And he said, I don't know how to read. And so he understood that it was reading. He understood that it was reading. It wasn't just repeat after me or recite. It was read. And the question that begs itself is, if Allah sent this thing, uh, didn't it know that he doesn't know how to read? And if he says he doesn't know how to read, can't Allah give him the ability to read? It just seems so kind of nonsensical. And I remember when I was a kid, when I was 9 years old, I heard this story in school. This is a very, very well known. Every Muslim knows this story. This is Muhammad's first encounter with that thing that he called Jibreel. Um, and he didn't think it was Jibreel at first. He thought it was the devil. Lamasani jinn. He says a jinn touched me. And so there's so many questions about this. It's such a weird story. It's such a strange story. And that thing, I mean, didn't it know that he doesn't know how to read? Why keep asking him to read when he doesn't know how to read? And then at the end, he still didn't read. You know, I mean, it says here, read in the name of your Lord who created, which is a verse of the Quran. But I mean, did this thing have a verse, a piece of paper with him that Muhammad was reading? Was there a piece of paper with him? Something that we never hear about that. Did he, send down a piece of paper? What is he supposed to read? We never hear about a piece of paper that he's supposed to read or anything like that. We just hear that the thing is scaring him to death, squeezing him so hard he thought he was going to. There's one version of this telling where he says he was afraid he was going to die. Okay, so it's a very strange story. It really doesn't make any sense. And it kind of shows like it's so strange. Like, I mean, didn't Allah know that he doesn't know how to read? Over and over. Okay, it's not paper, a coverlet with a brocade which had writing on it. Oh, does it say that? Um, oh, let's see. He came to me, said the apostle, while I was asleep with a coverlet of brocade whereupon some writing said, read. Hmm. Okay. Well, that's a new. I've never heard that before. So anyway, it's still a strange story, and he didn't know how to read. I mean, that's a point of pride to Muslims, is that he didn't know how to read or write, and yet he came out with this amazing Quran. And so anyway, but let's read on. And then he returned with his neck muscles twitching with terror till he reached upon Khadija and said, "Cover me, cover me." In Arabic, the word is what's the word? It'll come to me, but uh, he said they covered him until his fear was over, and he said, "Oh Khadija, what is wrong with me?" Then he told her everything that happened. She said, "I fear that something may happen to me." Khadija said, "Never. Have the glad tidings. Allah will never disgrace you. Keep good relation with your kith and kin. Speak the truth. Help the poor and the destitute. Serve the guest generously and assist the deserving." Khadija then accompanied him to her cousin Waraka bin Nawfal. Now, you guys, there's one telling of this story where he wasn't just there once. He had gone to this cave many times, and he would go and spend the night there by himself. And Khadija, it looks like Khadija knew something was going to happen. It was like Khadija knew something was going to come to him, because it says she used to be like standing outside looking as if she was waiting for something to happen. It was as if she knew something was going to happen, as if maybe they kind of were planning this, or they had done some kind of witchcraft or something to get this thing to come to Muhammad, and that she knew about what this was before. Um, just because she used to go with him and wait outside the cave and just kind of be watching and waiting, as if she knew something like this was going to happen. And anyway, and she was so certain when it happened that it was an angel, and she was so confident, like everything's okay, everything's cool, my cousin. Okay, and then she knew exactly what to do, to take him to Waraka bin Nawfal, and Waraka bin Nawfal instantly had an answer for him, an Ebionite priest. Okay, and so it looks like they maybe were working together. And there are books. There are books. Um, I think there's one of them written by a guy named Karim Abdul. He was a a professor from Al Azhar University, and he said that Khadija used to shape Muhammad, and used to almost like you do a statue. You know the way you make a statue, you make the clay, and then you shape it, and you form it, and then you uh, you know uh, clean it up and make it. That Khadija was doing that with Muhammad, and she had a plan that she wanted him to be a king. She wanted him to be the king of Arabia, to unite all the disparate Arab tribes, including his own Quraysh. And she had talked to the Jews, and she had asked the Jews, "How can we bring all these Arab tribes together and have a king over them?" And the Jews said, take the route of David, do the David thing. And she said, what's that? And they said, well, first of all, have him be a prophet. And you see, they'll listen to him as a prophet and then have him be the king. Like David, first he was a prophet, then a king. And I'm not sure that's 100% right, saying it that way. I think he was a prophet all his life. But that's kind of what she got from the Jews. So she got this idea, okay, so let's make Muhammad into a prophet. And I think she knew how to work with these evil spirits. I think she had, um, she knew how to manipulate and use these evil spirits for her own purposes. Um, because it seems like she knew what was going on. Muhammad didn't know. He was terrified. But she was so calm and collected. Oh yeah, honey, I know what's going on. And then she takes him to Warqa bin Nawfal, who also seems to know exactly what's happening, which seems very suspicious. And it seems like there are some occultic things going on here. Okay. Um, and so anyway, he came back with his neck muscles twitching with terror. I mean, it sounds like the Exorcist here. Uh, cover me, cover me. Uh, uh, and they covered him until his fear was gone. And then she said, don't be afraid, everything, Allah's not going to let nothing happen to you. And it's funny that she's saying Allah will never disgrace you. I thought Muhammad was supposed to come and teach them about Allah. But here she already knows. Even before she hears a word of this alleged revelation, she already knows Allah. So it's a little bit strange, okay? Um, and Khadija accompanied him to Warqa bin Nawfal. Warqa was the son of her paternal cousin during the pre-Islamic period and became a Christian and used to write Arabic writing and used to write of the Gospels in Arabic as much as Allah wished him to write. He was an old man who had lost his eyesight. Khadija said, "Oh, my cousin, listen to the story of your nephew." Warqa said, "Oh, my nephew, what have you seen?" And the Prophet described what he saw. Warqa, this is the Namus, i.e. Gabriel, who keeps the secrets from whom Allah sent to Moses. So Warqa bin Nawfal says, this Jibreel, this thing that came to you, he was the same one who came to Moses. Okay, and just for the record, thank you very much. Not sure who this is. Jack Ray, God bless you. Thank you for West Coast Taco Fun. That'll be after tomorrow on Tuesday for Taco Tuesday. So thank you so much. God bless you. Uh, uh, let me go back here. Just for the record, there's no biblical account of Gabriel ever going to Moses. Now, Gabriel did come to, he came to Daniel, he came to Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist, and he came to Mary. He came to those three, but there's no record of him ever coming to Moses. Okay, so Warqa bin Nawfal, it seems like he was just kind of scrambling to try to manipulate this demonic encounter into something. And then Warqa says, "I wish I were young. I could live up to the time when your people would turn you out." And Allah's apostle said, "They'll turn me out?" Warqa replied in the affirmative. "Never did a man come with something similar to what you have brought, but was treated with such hostility. If I should remain alive till the day when you will be turned out, I would support you strongly. Okay, so what was it that he came with? What was the amazing message he got? He says, "This is the message. Uh, in the name of your Lord, who has created all that exists, He has created man from a clot. Read, and your Lord is most generous." I mean, that is the amazing thing that Waraka bin Nofel has never in his whole life ever seen anything so amazing. Never did a man come with something so similar to what you have brought. What did he bring? What is that? What is that so phenomenal? Man is from a blood clot. You know, and blood clot, by the way, is dead blood, you guys, and so totally unscientific. But after a few days, Waraka died, and the divine inspiration was paused for a while. This is where things get tricky. The prophet became so sad, as we have heard. Okay, and this is what's interesting. The prophet became so sad, as we've heard, that he intended, this is very important right here, several times. This wasn't a one-time thing. This wasn't a one-time thing. Mohammed tried several times to throw himself from the tops of the high mountains. Several times he was getting ready to throw himself off the mountain. You guys, I think there's something wrong with that. Someone who does that several times, I think there's a problem with them. And I think the number one problem is that he encountered a devil. And he even said that. He even said that what came to him was from Satan. But there was the dance of the thighs, the test of the thighs, whereby Khadija assured him that it was Jibreel, it was an angel, not a devil, even though he knew it was a devil. But so he intended several times to throw himself from the high mountains. And every time he went up to the mountain to throw himself, Gabriel would appear before him and say, "Oh, Muhammad, you are indeed Allah's apostle in truth." Whereupon his heart would become quiet and he would calm down and would return home. But look, there's more. And whenever the period of the coming of the inspiration used to become long, he would do as before. But when he used to reach the top of the mountain, Gabriel would appear. So whenever, I don't know how many times did this happen, whenever, this means that this happened a lot, you guys. This guy was constantly trying to throw himself off a mountain, off a cliff. He was constantly trying to do this. And it shows that there's something wrong there. And, I did a program about this a long time ago, you guys, when I had a TV program. And one of the things that I found interesting is I read something about Kurt Cobain. He was the singer for Nirvana. Smells Like Teenage Spirit, really big in the 90s or something, But he committed suicide too. And it even says, I read that one of the reasons he committed suicide is because the thing that used to come bring him music stopped coming. And so I kind of thought, wow, this is kind of similar to the Muhammad situation here. So, yeah, there was a lot going on there. And so let's look in here. It says, and whenever the period of coming of inspiration used to become long, he would do as before. You know, so he would try to throw himself off the mountain again. You know, and then this is from Ibn Ishaq Sirat Rasulullah. You know, the first biography of Muhammad, or the first. It's not really the first. The first was no. The first was Ibn Ishaq. Okay, Ibn Ishaq, and but it was copied later by Ibn Hisham. Okay, and it says, so I, Muhammad, read it, and Gabriel departed from me, and I woke from my sleep, and it was though these words were written on my heart. Tabari, none of God's creatures are more hateful to him than a poet or a man possessed. I could not even look at them. I thought, woe is me, a poet or possessed. Never shall Quraysh say this of me. And I mean, he did not want to be a poet or possessed. Possessed. He himself said possessed. He says, I will go to the top of the mountain and throw myself down that I may kill myself and gain rest. Okay, so he went to do it, and then he heard a voice from Gabriel. And you may think, well, why would Gabriel, or this thing that came to him, if it's a demon, why would it try to save his life? Well, the reason is because they had found a unwitting uh, participant in Muhammad, and they wanted to use him before they killed him. Okay, and so and then there's Kitab Tabakat al-Kubra, the major classes, very, very famous book. Um, it says the visitations of the spirit continued, and they stopped for a time to have been from 6 months to 3 years. Okay, the inspiration ceased to come to the messenger, and he was deeply grieved. He began to go to the tops of the mountains and crags in order to fling himself from them. But every time he reached the summit, Gabriel appeared and said, "You are the prophet of Allah." Okay, and from Tabari, the pre-Islamic Arabs believed in the demon of poetry, and they thought the great poet was directly inspired by demons. Okay. Uh, okay. So um, these are some. I've heard. I've heard. Um, I've heard that Muhammad tried about 10 times to kill himself, and you know what we see here seems to allow for that, because 2 times it says he intended several times to throw himself from the high mountains, several times, and then here, and whenever the period of coming of inspiration used to become long, he would do as before until he reached the top of the mountain. So you have at least 2 times here mentioning several times. So it's not just 2 times that he did it, but 2 times it mentions several times that he tried to kill himself. And it's just like, it's very strange and very weird, that he would do that. But I think that this points to the demonic. Okay, it says the pre-Islamic Arabs believed in the demon of poetry. They thought a great poet was directly inspired by demons. You know what? I bet they weren't wrong. I bet they weren't wrong. You know, because I think demons are involved in stuff like that. So anyway, so that he tried to kill himself all these times, and I did hear someone say the other day that it was probably around 10 times that he did try to kill himself. And you got to wonder, now, what kind of prophet would do that? What kind of prophet is he if he's doing that? Um, it kind of shows a mental instability and demon possession if he's doing that. So, and he didn't do it once. He tried many times. And Aisha is the one that said it, is al-Mu'mineen, the mother of the believers. Um, I also wanted to show you something that Muhammad said about attempting suicide. It's not as if this was something that was allowed in Islam. Okay, let me see if I have this. Uh, okay, I don't know if this is the right one here. Okay, this is the hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari. As we have heard that he intended several times to throw himself from the tops of high several times. And every time he went to throw himself, Gabriel appeared and said, "You are the prophet of Allah." Okay. Uh, but there was another one that, let me see if I find it. Um, yes. Okay. Okay. Here's the other hadith that's very strange. It says Abu Huraira narrated that Muhammad said, "Whoever kills sorry, himself with an instrument of iron, his iron will be in his hand to continually uh, that himself in his stomach with it, in the fire of Jahannam, dwelling in that state eternally. And whoever unalives himself with poison, like Muhammad did, then his poison will be in his hand, continually to take it in the fire of Jahannam, dwelling in that state eternally. And whoever throws himself from a mountain to unalive himself, he will be continually throwing himself in the fire of Jahannam, dwelling in that state eternally. So this is a hadith, and it's a sahih hadith in Jami' al-Tirmidhi, saying that if he does this, he's going to be doing it forever in hell. Okay, and here it is again. And he who unalives himself with a piece of iron. Okay. The top one here. Whoever throws himself from a mountain and unalives himself will be thrown down in the fire of Jahannam and remain in it forever and ever. Okay. Who again? Here's Sahih al-Bukhari. Whoever purposely throws himself from a mountain and unalives himself will be in hell. Okay, so Muhammad is talking against this. Whoever throws himself, he will be in the fire of hell, throwing himself down forever and ever. Okay, so all these are Sahih, you guys. Sahih al-Bukhari. Okay, um, so Muhammad was saying that he's against this, and yet um, he himself did it so many times. Now the hadith doesn't specify how many times, but that's a lot. You know, I mean, it's saying it happened several times. So, yeah, so very interesting. Um, I just want to show you, how some Muslims are looking at this and what they think about this. Um, let me see, where did I actually had let me go ahead and I got to look for this again. It says, okay, um, like here, this is Islam Q&A. Let me just get you here. Okay, here. It says, question. Is it true that the Prophet thought he was possessed and had met a demon when he first encountered Jibreel? As proponents of Islam quote Ibn Ishaq Sira say that he thought he met a demon? How authentic is this? Okay. Also, how does one respond when they say that he tried to commit suicide after being terrified by the events? This will be interesting, you guys. Okay. Imam Bukhari responds in his Sahih from Aisha that when Muhammad encountered Jibreel in Hira, he rushed home, his heart was racing, and he was somewhat fearful. He wasn't somewhat fearful, he was terrified, and his neck was twitching. He said, Zammaluni, Zammaluni, which means cover me, cover me. However, it does not say that he met a demon. Rather, he was naturally fearful of himself and never encountered something like that before. And Khadija consoled him and assured him that Allah would take care of him due to his good character, mashallah. Many narrations of seer literature do not meet the hadith criteria of authenticity. The allegation that he tried to commit suicide is a reference to some reports that he was extremely sad at the long gap between revelations and the initial, after which it is reported that he tried to climb a mountain to throw himself off. But when he tried to do so, Jibreel appeared and said, "Oh, Muhammad, you are a messenger." And his heart would become quiet and he'd return home. This is mentioned as part of a longer hadith, okay, recorded by Bukhari. Okay. However, this part of the narration which describes the alleged attempted unaliving is not actually reported by Aisha as part of her narration. It is one of the narrators, al-Zuhri, who adds this to the hadith text by prefacing it with, according to what has reached us, Fima Balagana. So Zuhri, who is the narrator of the hadith of Aisha, has added the part and has not mentioned the chain of narrators, meaning who he heard this from. He simply says, according to what has reached us for this part. In other words, he didn't hear this part from his teacher who narrated the hadith of Aisha. So you see what they're trying to say? Therefore, this part of the narration that alleges the unaliving is weak, not part of the hadith. Well, no, it doesn't say it's weak. It says it's strong. Imam Bukhari recorded his hadith in full, including Zuhri's addition. Okay. Imam Muslim has a same hadith of Aisha, but without the addition of Zuhri. Okay. Therefore, the reports of alleging the attempted unaliving of Mo are not sound or true. I think you're wrong. I think you are very wrong. Okay. These are Sahih. Many of them are Sahih reports. You got it from Ibn Kathir, you got it from Ibn Ishaq, and you've got it in the hadith here. So it's difficult. It's difficult. I don't blame him. This Tabari says the inspiration ceased to come. He was deeply grieved. He began to go to the top of mountain crags in order to fling himself from them. He began to go to the tops of mountain crags. It's not like it was a one-time thing. He began doing this as a regular thing to crags. It wasn't a one-time thing. When he'd reach the summit, Jibreel would come say, okay, so all right, so yeah. So if you're a Muslim and you have an opinion about this, why did Muhammad attempt to unalive himself so many times? I mean, he went up to the mountains to jump off. According to this hadith and the Tabari, this happened many times. So what does it say about Muhammad that he would do that? And I remember when I did this topic on my TV program, There's one girl who called and she was like, I just refuse to believe that. And I said, well, refuse all you want. It's in your books. You have to change your books. You have to do something about your books because this story is there. And, I know that Christians get criticized for pointing out stuff like this, but you know, um, you need to know that this is who you're following. You need to know that you're following this man, and this is what he did. In addition to all the other stuff he did, when this thing came to him, he tried to kill himself many, many times. Like I said, I've heard as many as 10 times he tried to do it. And it's like, wait a minute, something's wrong here. And so, do we have any Muslims who would like to come on and help us understand this? I'm going to go ahead and put a link here. If there is a Muslim who would like to come on, I welcome you. And come and explain this to us because we're a bunch of non-Muslims who are wanting to understand your prophet. If you're willing to talk to us, here's the link. Just push on it and come up. We'll wait a few minutes for you to make up your mind. And then if you don't, we will go ahead and call it a night. All right. So I don't really like the answer this guy's giving. I think he's doing trying to make this into something because it just doesn't look good. It just looks really bad. Okay. All right. I'll just look at one more place. Okay. Reddit, Drink Islam. Okay, doesn't look like anybody's coming up, you guys. So I think I will go ahead and call it a night then. So anyway, um, this is there. This is in the books, and Muslims need to answer. They need to answer why the one they're following tried to kill himself so many times. And then he said that if you do this, you're gonna go to hell, and yet he himself did it many times. And why is this still in the hadith? Why do you guys leave it in the hadith? You know, there's something else going on here. So, all right, you guys, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for following me because they unalived my last live stream, and so that was weird. That was really weird, man. It's like I didn't have that many viewers. I had like 5 or 6 viewers, and I thought, okay, that's a good beginning. So I started, and I'm watching, and then it went down to 0. And I said, no, I've never had that happen before. At least my wife would be 1 at least, but no, it was 0, and so that was weird. Yes, Truth Defender, we talked about that too. How the pigs all drowned themselves after their encounter with demons. So yeah, there are several encounters with demons in the Bible that led to unaliving. So, all right, you guys. Well, thank you for hanging out with us, and thank you for following me from my last live stream to this one. That was weird, man. Uh, and if you haven't done it, please do it now. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. يسوع ساعدني. يسوع سامحني. يسوع ادخل قلبي. We love you, but much more importantly, He loves you. So have a wonderful night, and hope to see you guys again soon. Lord bless you.
If you have ever wondered why dull apologists lie so much, it's because on a rare occasion that they tell the truth. This happens.
One of the reasons I accepted Islam was the scientific miracles. I'll be honest with you. And now we know that this whole scientific miracles was absolute nonsense.
You're going to have to repeat that.
That the standard narrative has holes in it. That's what I'm going to say.